One day, my father returned home from a trip to France, only to find a gang of young toughs beating a poor wretch from the gutter. They flailed him with their fists, pelted him with stones from the roadway, covered him with every piece of waste and garbage they could find. You can imagine how my father felt when he discovered that the wretch was me. Prodigal son, as he understood me to be, but instead of the banquet in the Bible story, he locked me in the cellar. Fed me on bread and water. And there I remained, prisoner and penitent, till my mother released me during another of my father's trips. Finally, he could tolerate no more. I was pulled aside on the roadway one day and summoned to appear before the authorities. I was believed to be mad, the herald said, and as such was subject to civil action. On and on he went about the public good. And then finally he gave me the name of my accuser. My father, Pietro Bernardone. In that moment, something inside of me seemed to split wide open, and I heard myself shouting, "By the grace of God, I am a free man! And as such, don't feel myself obliged to appear before the consuls. I have no master but God!" My father, he must have been listening somehow, because I was then hauled before the bishop. I had spoken with this bishop. I had shared with him some inkling of my mission. But as I stood before him amid the finery of the church, I had no idea what he might say or do. If you truly intend on dedicating your life to God's service, you must first return his money to him. You no longer have any right to it. God does not want you to use it for the good of the church. And by this restitution, you might appease your father's anger. Trust in God, my son. He'll come to your aid. He'll help you rebuild his church. I was filled with terrible emotions. Guilt, fear, longing, bravado. I turned away from the bishop, only to see that a large crowd had gathered around us. They knew this madman, this beggar, and they also knew Pietro Bernardone. But in that moment, I knew the bishop, he was right. I knew what I had to do. Most gladly, Lord, shall I return to my father all the clothes that are his, and all the money that I have received from him. Listen to me, all of you, to what I have to say. Up until now, I have called Pietro Bernardone my father. Now, I return all the clothes that are his, all the money that I have received from him. From now on, I shall no longer say, my father, Pietro Bernardone, but our Father who art in heaven.